What we now have is evidence that chemical weapons have been used inside of Syria, but we don't know how they were used, when they were used, who used them. We don't have a chain of custody that establishes what exactly happened. And when I am making decisions about America's national security and the potential for taking additional action in response to chemical weapon use, I've got to make sure I've got the facts.
It is April 30th, 2013. President Obama just finishing a press conference moments ago where he gave updates on everything from chemical weapons use in Syria to the Boston bombing investigation and airport delays. I'm Wendy Bounds. Welcome to WSJ Lunch Break. We've got our Washington, D.C. Bureau Chief Tim Hanrahan. He's joining us right now, and he was live blogging the event for our Washington Wire. Tim, thanks for being here. We were just hearing the president speaking about Syria. What was the headline out of the press conference from your vantage point on this issue?
Well, he was pressed by the reporters on if there are chemical weapons in Syria, and we know that, what does that mean for the U.S. approach? Does that mean military action? What exactly is the game changer mean here? And what he responded, which was interesting, is he said, look, we're not sure of all the facts yet. We're not sure how these were used or who exactly used them. And once we determine that, we really need to get the international community on board too before we do anything additional. So he really said, this may be a game changer, but it's not really clear what that means for the U.S., going forward. Does this mean military action? Does it mean more aid for the rebels? What exactly does it mean? And that was left pretty much an open question. And the headline, though, as you asked, the answer really is, it sounds like Obama wants to get international consensus on board for more action, which may include Russia, which has always been a tricky thing.
Another issue that came up was the sequester, and Obama saying that Washington needs to lift the sequester. What other details did he give on that, particularly with regards to airport delays and how the sequester is affecting the FAA?
Well, Obama said Congress last week moved to let the FAA stop furloughs of air controllers and towers, basically to stop these delays from happening to airports, which are starting to freak people out a little bit. Obama said, look, it's not a defeat for me to back off on the sequester because, frankly, if I veto this, it just makes matters worse, and Congress has to do their job. You can't make it my job for Congress to do their job. So there's still loggerheads over the sequester. We may have more of these small fixes, but there's really no movement at all on resolving the sequester and making sure these cuts don't linger through the rest of the year, even though no one really likes them.
Tim, another headline obviously on everybody's mind is where things stand now with the Boston bombing investigation. We've been seeing headlines about possible female DNA being found on some of the evidence at the crime scene. Did Obama give any updates from his vantage point on where things stand with the investigation?
He didn't really give any significant updates, but what he did do is he defended the FBI and other agencies for the way they've handled the investigation and the way they've handled border security. Lindsey Graham and others had criticized U.S. agencies for maybe not working hard enough to keep potential terrorists out of the country. What Obama said was, he thinks they've done a very good job. He thinks all law enforcement has done a very good job. And also raised the specter of maybe these guys were homegrown, self-radicalized terrorists, the alleged bombers, sort of keeping the focus on the possibility that maybe these were just Americans essentially who weren't radicalized from overseas but somehow radicalized themselves and became homegrown terrorists. So he very much kept the focus on the possibility that these guys acted alone or acted very much alone.
Tim, quickly, Guantanamo, the prison there, the president has obviously pushed very hard to close the prison there, but Congress has pushed back. What are the odds he's actually going to be able to engage them again on this issue?
It doesn't seem very likely. I mean, Congress, both Republicans and Democrats, have been very wary of shutting down Guantanamo because it means then moving these guys onto American soil for out of Guantanamo, despite the problems that Guantanamo has. So Obama was very forceful today, more forceful than he's been recently, saying Guantanamo is a problem. What's going on there is not good. We're trying to make the best we can of it, but it's not. He said it's a lingering situation that's not going to get better. So he was very forceful, but at the same time, people who have watched this for the last decade don't really see a lot of hope there in changing the status quo.
All right, a lot of different topics coming out of that press conference. Tim Hanrahan, he's one of our Washington Deputy Bureau Chiefs. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you.